Dude, it ruled in this minor town in Switzerland. They put us in a nice hotel.
Yep. And we did we do a podcast from there? Because that was the only thing I was thinking about.
Did we?
Because I mean, I don't know if you remember, because we didn't really know each other until we started, because we were...
Sean Kemp's kids.
Yeah, but...
No, you played Saturday
But Nost
game.
and those guys started that league, and everyone kind of like Comedy Store guys who didn't really know everybody else, everyone started like hanging out a little bit. That's how I met David Taylor, you.
Yeah.
And then...
the Saturday game with the Sklar's
Yeah,
played.
and you got to know everybody.
Yeah.
And then you were somewhat normal by then. Like, I'd heard all the stories about you, but then when we met, like, you were actually interested in playing basketball because you're like, yeah, I want to learn how to like pick and roll and rebound and stuff like that. Jeff Dye too.
Well, we did one about your basketball days. We know we did a podcast there.
Yeah, but I'm saying like we kind of met through that, and then your podcast was just getting started. So I think even the travel stuff, because that's what I'm saying. You're doing a travel podcast now. Like, how do you say that this doesn't
bonus
lead
material
into things?
basketball with Paul Morrissey, Sports Machine. That's about your time as a
sports anchor.
Take me out to the ball game where we went.
That's
Started
the
in
most
that apartment.
famous one.
In that apartment, we did it on the subway. This was so DIY because everyone's like, it was pre anyone even having a studio. But
I think it's the best thing that's ever been done.
You could hear us walking down the street, being on the subway, you could hear the crack of the bat.
We're on the way to Yankee Stadium. We're so under the radar. You had these SM58s, but they looked professional back then.
Yeah,
So
it's these.
So we were in
It's the same ones I'm using.
but we were in the front row of the bleacher section. So the security guys thought we were actually like broadcasting. So we were like doing the whole thing, and then remember there was like a no-hitter through 5 innings, and it was like a good game too.
It was a good game.
And then we had those
girls.
Those girls recognized, or no, they didn't recognize you. They're like, "What are you guys doing?"
Yeah.
And you're like, "Oh, you're a couple of Jewish girls from wherever." And she's like, "How'd you know we were Jewish?"
Yeah, I just immediately went back. How'd you know we were Jewish? She started laughing.
And then I always remember the kid as like a 12-year-old kid that was like, "Hey, are you the amazing racist?"
Oh yeah.
While we were like on the podcast, and you were just kind of like,
"Oh yeah," they had some little kid come up to try to say hi to me.
Yeah,
and I was like, "What?"
And you're like, "Keep it down, buddy," because he's like, "Are you the amazing racist?" He's like, "Yeah, but keep it down, buddy."
Yeah.
It was kind of funny.
And then her dad was like center or him. Let's see if we can find some images from there.
So I traced this whole thing from travel and podcasting to what you're doing right now.
Yeah, wow.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, you were on my old podcast a lot. Yeah, guys, if you want to go check that out, check it out soon because I keep meaning to go delete all those old episodes.
But it made like a bunch of lists in like random
of like coolest,
like Runner's World's coolest sports podcast of the year.
It really was. You could hear this when Marin like showed me how to do all this stuff. He was like, "No, I'll sit here with you and like show you how to do it." And he goes, he's like, "I've done one from a car before." He goes, "It doesn't overpower. You can tell you're in a car, but you can still hear. You could hear the crack of the bat on a hit.
Yeah.
But it wasn't overpowering our voice.
Right.
It was pretty interesting. You could hear the roar of the crowd, but you could hear us more.
And we were still just like watching the game.
Yeah.
Because we were fans.
Because also we were like, after like an inning, we're like, "Oh, let's put it away for a couple innings."
Yeah.
And watch. Because otherwise it would have been a 5. It was old baseball too. The last 4.5 hours.
Yeah. No timer.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was, I trace, I think we were good influence on each other because we both started to do obviously the travel stuff, and then I did the podcast stuff for a little while. But here's the thing: why did you stop your old podcast?
It was. Why do you think? I gotta start asking that more in interviews.
For me, because I came from broadcasting, then I was Artie's co-host for a while, and then I was Tom Papa's co-host for a while, and I did mine. And it was kind of like I had all the people that I wanted to have on, and I didn't want to just keep doing it to do it. So it takes so much less pressure on me. Like, it's more fun for me to just do this because I haven't seen you in a while. So this is cool to catch up and just chat.
We would have just gotten coffee if
yeah.
not. But Yeah, you're pretty close. That's a reason. It honestly, I'm a big freedom guy. It's the kind of one of the most important things to me. To be able to go to Southeast Asia for months, to be able to go to Ecuador for 6 months, to be able to like just. I was doing a Something's Burning with Brenna Zisi and Bert,
right?
And I was saying like we were talking about freedom in general, and I was like, yeah, I'm very free, and Bert's like, I have as much freedom as you do, and I was like, and I just started laughing,
yeah,
and he goes, what do you mean? And Steve goes, Bert, Ari could just turn this table over and go to the airport and leave right now.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, I have a family. He goes, right, which is why you don't have as much freedom as me because you have these things. This began to feel like a job.
Yeah.
And once I realized, I was like, oh, all right, I got about 3 months to wrap this up nicely, but I'm done with it. I don't want a job. Yeah. So I lost a lot of money and got more freedom.
Well, that's the thing is you can't get used to the money. That's with any kind of stand-up even. I remember Tosh, I think, told me when he first was headlining all the improvs, it's like, I'm working 45 weeks a year to pay for a house that I'm not in.
Yeah.
So that's why he did the show. Like,
so he could be home.
Yeah.
Wow. And now doesn't he just surf all day now?
I think, yeah. Well, he's married, has a kid, I think, at least. Wow. But my thing was I wanted to, like, I think I'm like you where we are hard workers, but we need like a break. So I can work on something for 3 months, like a script or a pilot or a special.
You got to put it away eventually.
And then I just need like a month to do nothing.
Yeah, you get your brain thinking again. Yeah. You need a fallow year for crops.
Right.
You know? That's like you need a year where doesn't rob the soil of something, which the soil is your mind.
But there's a lot of people that they need like the schedule every day, and I'm just not that person. Like the
best, their own.
The best example was oh man, it's these two composers, and Stravinsky, I think Igor Stravinsky. It's like a famous, and then like Handel or something. There's like two of the most famous composers.
Okay.
One of them did their masterpiece working every day from like 9 to 5 for like 6 months, and then the other guy did it all night for 30 days. So it's like when you have inspiration, you have to go like, I'm not somebody that can like, I'll stay up all night working on something.
Because also it's like then you're just working for the sake of work. You're like, it's kind of like, remember when the bloggers would get angry about something, like Lindy West would be about jokes or whatever you're into, but then it's like, ooh, this is catching on, and you're like, well, now it's next week, I have to write another one, but you're not as mad about this one.
Yeah,
you were really worked up about the other one. Now you're just like trying to get worked up,
right?
So it's kind of empty.
Yeah, and that was a fun thing about the podcast when you have like somebody that you're like, oh, I want to have this person on just to talk to them.
So there was that too. Everyone was a topic on Skeptic Tank. And at some point, I'm like, I know, because I wanted to learn about things in a funny way. And I've learned about drug addiction enough. I've learned about fucking hookers enough. I'm like, yeah, I got it. So now I'm just like, you'd be like, or someone would be like, hey, can I go on your podcast? I'm like, yeah, I don't know, figure out a topic and we'll just cut this. And I'm like, well, I'm not interested anymore. It was like, I worked at the rodeo. I'm like, yeah, sure, that'll do. And it's just like, I wasn't interested. And also, it was like a lot of things. And also, I was starting to get affected by people's follower counts. I could see myself being pulled into what everyone in LA is pulled into.
Yeah.
Where valuing humans based on their popularity instead of their actual, what they enrich your life with.
Right.
And I didn't like that at all. And I was like, I want to get back to just who's most interesting.
You are very, like I remember, because when you shot your first
you were
special,
there. You were there.
I was like the only comic there.
You said put some fucking powder on your feet. You're squeaking.
You got brand new sneakers, and your sneakers were squeaking after every joke. I was like, put something up there. It's gonna ruin every joke.
Good call.
But that, and then I went to the first. This is not happening, and then so it went from like, I've seen this, with Gaffigan. I worked when he got super famous, and then you got really famous, and so I saw the way that you try to navigate that, because I know you hate like phoniness and you hate like people maneuvering and stuff like that. Yeah. And so it was interesting to see you navigate that whole thing. I mean, even now, because you moved to New York, you didn't really know anybody.
Yeah, it seems obvious now, but Don Herrera was like, no, you moved from New York to LA. You're just starting to get going. Now you're moving away from LA? That's wrong. I'm like, I don't know. I want to see new things.
But it was interesting because did you have the show yet? I don't know if you had the show yet.
I think I had the show.
But I remember
just the beginning. I think it was only digital.
I was at your apartment when your bed got delivered. You were like coming in. And so you didn't know anybody.
You told him about the diner because this is your diner. It closed.
Yeah.
Odessa,
I was in your place before you were.
Yeah, that's right.
And then
I didn't know anybody.
Like 6 months later, you had the show. Like
then
everywhere we went,
TV.
people were starting to kiss your ass, and like all these people are schmoozing you. I'm like, oh, this is interesting, man.
The Netflix special was 2017. But
Yeah.
that's when I got from Asia.
Right.
Yeah, I let Duncan stay at my place when I went to Southeast Asia. He was the last one I saw.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was like, I want to leave LA. And I was like, stay here. I'm not coming back. Actually, if he wasn't staying at my place, I think 2 days in, I would have just turned around and gone home because I was so scared in Myanmar.
Wow.
I was so lonely and so scared. But I'm like, fuck, if I go home, Duncan's going to be there. I'm going to be embarrassed.
Where you been and where you going? This is Ari's travel show, yeah. We're gonna go on a journey today and see what there's to see in this big world. We're exploring different places, seeing all different types of faces. We're gonna talk about travel today. It's you, me,